Good evening, I'm Jeff Phillips. A fierce storm cut a swathe through the Griffith region yesterday, tearing down power lines and damaging wine grape crops. Tanks at De Bortley Wines were also dented by the force of the strong winds.
Country Energy employees had their work cut out for them last night to restore power to Yenda after an isolated windstorm between Hamilton Lane at Wagelli and the village damaged the 33,000 volt network.
We did have 5 poles that were snapped off above ground level, purely caused by strong wind, and also quite a lot of other pole top damage that occurred, which did affect supplies to around 2,000 customers.
About 40 people worked through the night to get the job done.
Given the extent and the nature of the damage, we also quickly brought in crews from places as far afield as Albury, Deniliquin, out as far as Hillston and Hay.
Mr Wake says it was a huge task to repair the damage, with electricity eventually restored to most areas by about 3:30 this morning.
We make the site safe both structurally and electrically, and it's then a matter of removing all the damaged assets, and physically we had to basically build some new power line because the poles were gone, the conductors were damaged.
In the light of day, the extent of the storm's fury could be seen around the region, with hail and strong winds wreaking havoc at Leeton, Tabita and Gulgowie. About 50 acres of wine grapes at De Bortley's Bilbil winery were damaged.
It's been a strip that's come across from the back of Bilgara winery through, and I would say that looking at most of the damage, I'd say the damage is centred around Bilbil.
Even the wine tanks bore the marks of the fierce winds, with about 14 tanks damaged.
We've had some damage with insulation, and the damage to the exterior, we believe most of those tanks will be able to pop out once we fill them with wine.
Jacqueline Cromasco, WIN News.
Meanwhile, last night's storms also left their mark around Wagga, with Gumley and Forest Hill most affected. Trees were uprooted with heavy winds, bringing down power lines and causing blackouts to some areas. Wind gusts were recorded of up to 115 kilometres an hour. While the rain cooled things down, high temperatures are predicted for the rest of the week. We'll have more weather details later in the bulletin.